What's up and welcome to Meet You and Switch 2. I am me, Tom Tate, and you are you, so let's talk about Switch 2. This is the latest and greatest Nintendo Switch 2 news brought to you every Tuesday and Friday in snackable 5 to 10 minute episodes. Today happens to be Friday. It is August 21st. It is 7:43 a.m. on the East Coast, and this is episode 128. Now, quick pre-show banter. I haven't been this stoked for a weekend in a very long time. And I think there's a couple reasons for that. So one, this week has been incredibly stressful for a lot of non-podcast related reasons. So I'm looking forward to a brief break. I hope that your week went fantastic. I hope that you are just gliding on into the weekend. And the second reason, I have a Conquer Pocket Advance arriving today in the mail. Now, this is an Android-based emulation handheld. I've had a few of these in the past. I'm a big fan of these emulation handhelds. They're super cheap. Most of them are super cheap. They're fun to tinker with, and this one is especially fun because it is the same form factor as the OG Game Boy Advance. And that handheld, I mean, obviously has a soft spot in my heart. So many great titles on that. I will be setting it up later tonight. I will be kicking back, I don't know, maybe a little Banjo-Kazooie Grunty's Revenge, maybe a little Legend of Zelda The Minish Cap. I'm not sure yet. We will see, but I'm very excited, and I hope that you have something fun to look forward to as well. Now, if you are a From Software fan, you definitely have something fun to look forward to because my feed this week was dominated by the Duskbloods, and people are getting very excited about this game. So let's just spend most of today's episode kind of catching up on where we're at with the Duskbloods. Now, this is a Switch 2 exclusive. It is directed by Hidetaka Miyazaki. I mentioned it's developed by FromSoftware, and we know FromSoftware's catalog very well, right? King's Field, Armored Core, Demon's Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Elden Ring. I mean, how many games have you heard over the past 5 to 10 years that have been described as a Souls-like? I mean, this team, they invented this, right? And Miyazaki kind of at the helm, right? You get this gothic setting with the Duskbloods that is very similar to some of the previous From Software games, but instead of a single-player RPG or action RPG, this is an 8-player PvPvE game. PvPvE. So if you don't know what that stands for, it stands for player versus environment, right? So you play as these vampire-like warriors competing in an event called the Twilight of Humanity, and the prize is called First Blood. I'm sure there's more story, more background to dive into, but that's the little glimpse that we got this week. Gameplay-wise, you compete in timed matches where you are in an environment. They kind of drop you into an arena, a world, and you defeat enemies to rack up points, specific types of points, and you can also attack each other, right? The other players in the game. But this isn't just a kind of drop in and kill your opponents type game. It's way more layered. You can also team up and do 2-player squads. You can temporarily team up with a stranger to take down a larger enemy or like a boss-like enemy. And apparently, like, you'll share the points for that. It's third person. You can sprint, jump. You can do a quadruple jump. So there's a lot of verticality in this game. You can air dash. You can summon creatures to help you or fight alongside you. There are a couple distinct rounds per match. And then at the end, the final 3 survivors, they battle it out. So it's kind of an elimination type game in each round, culminating to like a best out of 3 survivors type of match. There is a closed network test using an early version of the game happening this weekend. That starts today. So we got a few hands-on previews from outlets over the past few days, so that's where like the bulk of the news came from. But everyone is really buzzing about this. This is a big game for Switch 2. Any exclusive from a developer like FromSoftware is definitely a big thing. I will link to the articles. The most comprehensive article, I think, is the IGN preview from Michael Hyam. I skimmed this one because I watched a 15-minute IGN preview video, And I realized as I was reading the article that the video was mostly just the article with gameplay clips. It was like the same text, maybe not the whole thing, but at least the beginning was. So I'll link to the video as well if you want to check all that out. The only main criticism from Michael was the camera tracking and lock-on mechanic. Because the game moves super fast, like it was a little hard to follow. But hopefully they'll refine that a little bit before release. And I think the playtest will unveil a lot of that type of stuff, right? Balancing, player feedback, network testing, all that stuff. IGN did an interview with the director Miyazaki, so I'll link to that too. The interview is really interesting if you have time to read it. He talks about why Nintendo was the right partner for this, how they were, genuinely really excited about the project when they brought it to Nintendo, and that kind of moved things forward. He also talks about how From Software isn't good at onboarding new players, so they just drop players into games without too much direction on how to play the game or what the game is all about, and the player just has to figure it out, and that is not the Nintendo way, right? Like Nintendo is very good at that, so I think it was kind of leveraging the best of both worlds, right? So it was helpful, according to Miyazaki, to work with Nintendo to better explain how the game works and how to play. And there is a tutorial in this game, right? So as you start to play, you do learn the mechanics, of which there are definitely many. I think that'll be helpful because there are a good amount of mechanics. Watching the IGN videos, it seemed like there was a lot of, not rules, but there's a lot going on. If you want to fully understand and master this game, I'm sure anyone can just drop in and play. But if you want to get really good and level up your characters and develop some really strong builds, there's a lot to understand under the hood. If you want to go deeper into the mechanics, like sigils and kin, those are two distinct things within this game. There's a Game Informer article that I'll drop in the notes if you want to learn more about that stuff. They went a little bit deeper into some of those elements. I'm going to admit it now. The only From Software game that I played was Armored Core, and I'm pretty sure I played it at release, right? So this is going way back to PS1. This is not my favorite genre, not because I dislike it, just because I haven't really dove into it. I'll recognize that people absolutely love these games and this creator, so I'm ready to give this a try. Same with Elden Ring. Didn't play Elden Ring, didn't really get what I was watching, but people absolutely adored Elden Ring, so maybe I'll give this and Elden Ring a try at some point in 2027. Add that to the backlog list, pick those games up on sale. Who knows? I do like that you don't have to treat it like a PvP. If you want to just, get into the mechanics and defeat environmental enemies, you can do that. You can do doubles, team up with people. You can just have fun. Like, this seems like a game that you can have fun any way that you want. In fact, I do recall in one of the articles From Software even said that they regret leading with the PvPvE label for this game. So they felt like that label didn't give the game do the game justice, right? So as of now, we don't have a release date beyond simply saying 2026. So let's wait to hear in the coming month or two if this game is actually going to release in 2026 and what month. What time frame are we looking? Are they going to go head to head with Grand Theft Auto? Are they going to go? They're probably going to space it out from Ocarina of Time, if indeed we are getting Ocarina of Time, of which we were promised, right? So we'll have to wait and see kind of when this game is going to drop. Okay, let's wrap up today's episode with some quick headlines. Switch 2 is getting a price hike in the UK. We knew this was coming. We just didn't know the damage. Starting September 1st, I believe, Nintendo's bumping the price from about £396 to £420. That announcement came straight from Nintendo UK on their social channels. So roughly a £24 jump. It's not massive, but it's the direction that nobody wants to see prices moving, but it is the direction that all prices are moving, especially when RAM is involved and storage is involved. So unfortunately, component prices are shooting up. We all know this. The US price is also going to go up September 1st as well. So if you haven't picked up your Switch 2, now is the time to do it if you want to save some money. 1000X Resist Switch 2 Edition, that released yesterday, August 20th. This is a game that already exists on Switch 1. If you missed it the first time around, it's a 2024 game, sci-fi thriller. It looks really interesting. Definitely won a lot of awards when it was released. And if you're looking for something to check out in between big releases, this might be worth a look. It is only $11.99 in the eShop. We heard that Hellraiser Revival, which is actually Clive Barker's Hellraiser Revival. Clive Barker, I guess, is the creator of Hellraiser. This was announced by Saber Interactive. It's coming to Switch 2 on October 8th, 2026. Kind of like a stealth horror game. It's also going to be on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam. So excited to see Switch 2 being a part of that one. 007 First Light is still on its way to Switch 2, we've been told. And the news this week is that it will be playable in its Switch 2 format at Gamescom in Germany, which is next week. So Nintendo's running the demo at their own booth, which is a decent sign, I think, about how they feel about this one and how it's been running. And, hopefully that gives everyone confidence that it will release soon and it will play fantastically. I think that's it for today. Is that it for today? I think that's it for today. I don't have anything else. Another day without an Ocarina of Time Direct. That's what today is. It's another day without an Ocarina of Time Direct. I'll keep saying it, so eventually it's going to happen. Hopefully. I'm just going to keep saying it every single episode. Today is another day without an Ocarina of Time Direct, and hopefully we'll get one. Okay, enjoy your weekend. Do something you love to do. If you want to make my weekend, if you dig the show, take 10 seconds to hop into your podcast listening app of choice and leave a review. You don't have to write anything, but a simple star review is really helpful. And if you do write something, I'll be happy to share it on the show. Reviews and recommendations and word of mouth really keeps the show growing every week. So I'm super grateful. Helps others discover the podcast. I want to thank you so much for your time and your attention. Switch2pod.com for all the things, all the show notes, all the subscribe links. Switch2pod on Blue Sky and Instagram. Much love. Now go play some games.